Hi guys, it's Pastor James again, children's pastor at Wyandotte Family Church, and I am standing in front of our Bible wall because we are talking about Bibles again. In the last video, we just addressed a simple question of where can I get a Bible and what Bible should I get and why are there so many different kinds of Bibles? And in this video, we just want to give you some tips on kind of how to read the Bible and where to even begin. Because this particular printing has over 1,000 pages, and we know that there are people out there who have just started following Jesus who are intimidated. They're going, man, I don't really enjoy reading. I wasn't a great student in English growing up, and now all of a sudden you're telling me I have to read this thing every single day. And so we want to give you some tips to help with that. First, I want to answer the question, what is the Bible? Well, the Bible is, you can think of it as an anthology of texts that tell one story. The story between God and his creation, God and his people, and how God has been on mission to restore and to redeem his people ever since the very beginning. And in sharing that story, God uses the universal language of story to communicate to us. And so in the Bible, there are different genres. There is narrative, that's very similar to our modern narrative. If you pick up a novel and you see plot development, you see character development, you see the use of setting, different symbolism and themes that will be woven throughout. The Bible also has a lot of poetry in it. And so poetry, similar to modern day poetry, will have a lot of, again, symbolism, will have a lot of metaphor and illustrative language. Biblical poetry doesn't use rhyme and meter as much as English poetry does, but there's still a lot of overlap between the genres. We have histories in the Bible where they're showing the biblical author is writing an interpretive account of the things that have happened. And so the book of Acts, if you're watching this in the spring of 2022 when this video is being made, our church is going through an ongoing series through the book of Acts, and Acts is in form of ancient history. It's a little bit different than what we think of in modern history, but still, we can trust the veracity of the things that Luke is writing in terms of what happened for the early church and then its significance as it relates to the revelation of God in Jesus Christ. And so already, hopefully, you recognize there's some overlap. And as you're asking the question, well, where do I begin? Like, where do I go? There are a couple of different thoughts on that. One, if you really enjoy stories, then I encourage you to read the parts of the Bible that are story. So the book of Ruth is a phenomenal story. You see a lot of narrative from Genesis through the end of Second Chronicles, that first kind of big section of the Bible. The Gospels are a great place where you can see the narrative of Jesus' life and teachings unfold. If you are more of a logical thinker and you like things to be sort of a point one, therefore point two, such as point three, and then you kind of think and process that way. The letters in the New Testament, so the book of Romans, 1st and 2nd Corinthians, Galatians, Ephesians, Colossians, Philippians, etc. Those could be a good place to start because they already connect with how you process information. Maybe you love poetry and imagery, then you could go to the book of Psalms. Maybe you just love wisdom sayings. You could go to books like Ecclesiastes and Proverbs and the book of Job. Because you're already going to a part of the text that would resonate with you. Another idea is for your Bible reading, as we're doing a series and different things for our Sunday gatherings, read those books because that's going to reinforce what you're hearing here. Is going to help you when you go back. You're going to read it again with better understanding, with fresh insight, and it's going to sink in a little bit more deeply. If you have the YouVersion Bible app, they've got thousands of Bible reading plans, and you can go through and you can search for topic, You can search for a book of the Bible. You can search for really almost anything you could think of. And it'll have, some of them are 3-day Bible plans, some of them are year-long Bible plans, and we've got everything in between just to get you started on that Bible reading habit. So if you're asking the question, where do I start to read? You can answer it a couple of ways. You can start in the beginning and just go through and just hear God's story of his relationship with his people. You can pick a favorite genre and read in those areas, because that's going to resonate most with you and how God has crafted you. Or you could follow along with our weekly teachings, and you can read in those sections to reinforce the things that you're hearing on Sunday mornings. So hopefully those are 3 things to help you get started in a Bible reading habit.